Welcome back to another episode of the Twitter Files. This is a drama and a saga that just keeps going. Number 4 is now out. This is the Twitter Files. The fourth one. There have been so many parts to this. We've seen backdoors. We've seen crazy politician loopholes to get tweets removed. We've covered this story quite a bit. Let's just go ahead and get the latest information, and we'll piece it together with some of the old information that we've already covered. So here we go. This is just fresh out. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. The Twitter Files are revealing more every day about how the government collects, analyzes, and flags your social media. Twitter's contact with the FBI was constant and pervasive, as if it were a subsidiary, almost like a baby company, right? A subsidiary company is a company under the ownership of another corporation. Interesting claim. Between January 2020 and November 2022, there were over 150 emails between the FBI and former Twitter Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. That's interesting because when Elon Musk took over, this was initially sort of a right-hand person for Elon Musk. And then all of a sudden, the individual left or resigned or was asked to resign, all of a sudden gone. Some are mundane, like San Francisco agent Elvis Chan wishing Roth a happy new year, along with a reminder to attend our quarterly call next week. Quarterly call with the FBI for a social media platform? Okay. Others are requests for information into Twitter users related to active investigations. Okay, well, I mean, that could potentially be fair, if there's a court-ordered investigation into someone. But a surprisingly high number are requests by the FBI for Twitter to take action on election misinformation, even involving joke tweets from low follower accounts. Interesting. The FBI's social media focused task force, known as FTIF, created in the wake of the 2016 election, swelled to 80 agents and corresponded with Twitter to identify alleged foreign influence and election tampering of all kinds. So an 80-agent task force for election misinformation started in 2016. This is after the Clinton-Trump election. That's interesting. Okay. So this was back with Russia and the Alpha Bank, Hillary Clinton emails. Wow. I'm purposely trying to bring that up to try to separate my memory from 2020, which was obviously when Donald Trump, Biden was elected, Donald Trump lost. And so I thought maybe that would have started closer to then, but this was actually back to 2016. Quite interesting. Federal intelligence and law enforcement reach into Twitter included the Department of Homeland Security, which partnered with security contractors and think tanks to persuade or pressure Twitter to moderate content. It's no secret the government analyzes bulk data for all sorts of purposes, everything from tracking terror suspects to making economic forecasts. Okay, fair. I mean, that's true. You get a lot of people that pull API from like Twitter to try to understand, hey, like what products are going viral, right? In the stock market and so on. Fine. But I mean, that's free information. If it's readily available, there's potentially no issue there. The Twitter Files show something new, though, that agencies like the FBI and Department of Homeland Security regularly send social media content to Twitter through multiple entry points pre-flagged for moderation. So that's interesting. Is that sort of like, hey, here's content that we want you to limit? Let's get some more insight. What stands out is the sheer quantity of reports from the government. Some are aggregated from public hotlines. Election Day protocol for FBI headquarters is to stand up a national election command post, which provides a centralized location for addressing election-related threats. Okay. An unanswered question. Do agencies like FBI and the FBI and Department of Homeland Security do an in-house flagging work themselves or farm it out? You have to prove to me that inside the government, you can do any kind of massive data or AI search, says one former intelligence officer. Unanswered. Okay, this is a little confusing the way this part was written over here. Okay, what do we have over here? Hello, Twitter contacts. This is from an email at the FBI. Hello, Twitter contacts. The master canine quality of the FBI's relationship to Twitter comes through in this 2020 November 2022 email, in which FBI San Francisco is notifying you it wants action on 4 accounts. Okay, These 4 accounts. FBI San Francisco is notifying you of the below accounts, which may potentially constitute violations of the Twitter terms and services for any action or inaction deemed appropriate within Twitter policy. So this is interesting because they're you've got this FBI guy, Fred, who's basically saying, hey, we just want to highlight these tweets here we don't like. We're not necessarily saying you have to do anything or that they violated anything. We just want to bring these to your attention from your friends at the FBI. Now, what's interesting, if I actually look, I'm trying to look up these ats right now, and the first one doesn't show up. And you do have one of the accounts right here is this individual here. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, retired armchair defender of good. It's like 7,600 followers here. Not to ever diss on a follower count. It's what they said in here, that some of the FBI targeted posts were actually from low use accounts. How stupid can this be? Trump selling NFTs. I mean, these are like, these posts are getting like 6 to 40 likes. So why does the FBI care about some retired dude from Massachusetts? That doesn't make sense. Mad and pissed off. Go to account suspended. So look at that. This one's suspended at Joe Nathan 1 Wade. This one is suspended. And then the last one at Malt Thomas, suspended. All of those accounts are showing up as suspended. How interesting. Okay. Twitter personnel in that case went on to look for reasons to suspend all 4 accounts, including from MA, whose tweets are almost all jokes. See sample below, including his, quote, civic misinformation of November 8. What? Okay. Thanks. Okay, what do we have here? FBI folks, I reviewed this from a TD perspective and suspended 3 of the accounts for multi-account abuse and ban evasion. Please review from MA for possible civic misinformation. What? Civic misinformation? Dude, it's some retired dude who gets like 6 to 40 likes. I want to remind Republicans to vote tomorrow, Wednesday, November 9. Because that's not when the election is, right? The election is on Tuesday. So I mean, that's actually a good one. It actually took me a moment to think about it. I'm like, what's wrong with that? I'm like, oh, duh, it's the wrong day. Really? The FBI is worried about this? You got to be freaking kidding me, man. Come on. Oh, no. That's just silly. All right, let's see. Man. Just to show the FBI can be hyper intrusive in both directions, they also asked Twitter to remove or review a blue leaning account for a different joke. Okay, blue leaning would be left, right? Except here it was more obvious that Claire Foster, PhD, who kids a lot, was kidding. Yeah, I guess you have to be careful with jokes on Twitter. Not that you should, but like, that's crazy. Sometimes I joke around and people leave comments. You're like, oh my gosh, Kevin, don't joke like that. People might misunderstand. It's like, dude, it's Twitter. Like, chill. Right? Anyway, hello, Twitter contacts. FBI San Francisco is notifying you of the below account activities which may potentially constitute violations. Catherine says this. Twitter post by user Byram Wade displaying Ultra MAGA stating the following. Americans, vote today. Democrats, vote Wednesday. Or okay. I mean, like, come on. Like, that's even more of an obvious joke. The tweet was posted on election day. They're saying vote today. The people we don't like vote the next day. Okay. Twitter account Claire Foster, PhD, claimed in her post that she is a ballot counter and in her state. And in additional posts states, for every negative comment on this post, I'm adding another vote for Democrats. If you're not wearing a mask, I'm not counting your vote. I mean, like, this should be obvious, right? Like, should be an obvious, like, joke. I mean, like, it could be flagged, right? Like, maybe you put the little banner under it, like, hey, like, that's illegal or whatever, right? But that the fact that the FBI is like, hey, maybe consider deleting this stuff. Okay, interesting. Anyone who cannot discern obvious satire from reality has no place making decisions for others or working for the feds. She talked about in regards to the flagging. Okay, interesting. Of the 6 accounts mentioned in the previous 2 emails, all of 2 were suspended. Claire and From MA are still there, yep. In an internal email from November 5, the FBI, yeah, this is true. Somebody here says you can't convey tone in text. Yeah, I mean, that is true, but it's Twitter. It's a cesspool. Yeah. In an internal email from November 5, I mean, that's like, it's almost as bad as saying, I got my election information from the comments section on YouTube. It's like, come on, man. Right? Anyway, in an internal email from November 5, 2022, the FBI's National Election Command Post, which compiles and sends on complaints, sent the San Francisco field office a long list of accounts that may warrant additional action. Are you serious? Requesting assistance from San Francisco regarding the coordination with Twitter has been made aware of tweets by certain accounts that may warrant additional action due to the accounts being utilized to spread misinformation amongst or about the upcoming election. Okay, I mean, it seems like the FBI here was tasked to go clean up jokes on Twitter. That's what I guess the tax dollars are going to. Go make sure nobody's screwing around on Twitter. Okay. I mean, like, to some extent, we want people to have the proper information. But to another extent, so far, I've only seen like nonsense, like jokes, right? Like Twitter garbage, right? Like if somebody's like, hey, bomb threat at all Twitter polling places in Manhattan today. Don't go because you might die. Like, that would be terrible, right? Like that kind of stuff. It'd be like, all right, like I would understand that being moderated because that's like violent, threatening, scary. That would be bad, right? But when you're telling me somebody's going, all right, everyone vote today. If you're, the party we don't like, vote tomorrow. That's such an obvious joke, right? So far we're just seeing the jokes. I don't know if we're not getting the full picture here, but so far it seems a little ridiculous. But then again, remember, we don't have control of all these files here. We're just getting a little sample here. And these could be editorialized, right? Like what we are receiving could be, designed to make the FBI look like a joke. So we don't have all the details here, but so far it doesn't look good. Twitter folks, please see below list of Twitter accounts we believe are violating the terms of service by disseminating false information about the time, place, or manner of the upcoming elections. Okay, so this is, it'd be nice to see this one. So let's see if we can actually see that one. Oops. Let's jump on down here. Where are we at? We did this. 15 can be hypersensitive. We saw that. Reality, we saw this. We saw the list. Twitter folks, we saw this. Replied with the actions taken. Thank you for your patience as the team has assessed the accounts that you have flagged. We've completed our review and taken the following actions. Permanently suspended these, suspended for spam. Tweets bounced for civic misinformation policy violations. In regards to your question about preservation letter, it's a good way to ensure the data hasn't been purged from our system before legal actions are filed. Okay. Twitter then replied with its list of actions taken. Okay, we saw that. All right, let's take a brief moment here. Elon Musk tweeted about this. Kaboom. Kaboom. All right. Many of the above accounts were satirical in nature, nearly all, with the exception of Baldwin, and I think this is the Right Side Broadcasting Network, were relatively low in engagement, and some were suspended, most with a generic thanks Twitter letter. Okay. So it looks like this is some of the documentation, basically. So let's see if we can get a closer look at some of these. Democrats equate white women Republicans to roaches. Is this a reason to suspend someone? I mean, these were a little blurry to see here. Billy Baldwin. If the Supreme Court releases Trump tax returns, Trump goes to prison. Full stop. Yes or no? Do you think Elon Musk is using Twitter to help deliver the midterm elections to Republicans? Okay. I mean, these just seem relatively benign and random so far, but okay. I can't believe the FBI is policing jokes on Twitter. That's crazy. Yeah, that's kind of so far what it feels like, honestly. When told about the FBI flagging, my thoughts initially include seems like a violation of the First Amendment. Right. Okay, let's keep going here. In a letter from former deputy counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker, right. This was from the last Twitter files, okay, where we found out that Jim Baker was moderating some of the release of the Twitter files, and then he got fired because Elon Musk found his explanation to be unconvincing for his behaviors. Apparently, in this letter, Jim Baker, let's see, in a letter to Jim Baker, legal executive Stacia Cardile outlines results from her soon-to-be weekly meeting with the DHS, DOJ, FBI, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. My goodness, I guess if you want a lot of cool connections with the government, start a social media platform. They'll all come over to you. All right. So what? Oh my gosh, this is a lot. Look at this. Elections work. Wednesday, September 16th. I need some coffee for this one. Holy moly. Government sync. I participated in our monthly, soon-to-be weekly, 90-minute meeting with the FBI, DOJ, Department of Homeland Security, and Directorate of National Intelligence, and industry peers on election threats. A few items to note. Foreign advertisers are amplifying themes being advanced by domestic abusers to undermine the legitimacy of the election. Okay, especially vote by mail. I explicitly asked if there were any impediments with the ability of the government to share classified information or relevant information with the industry. FBI was adamant that no impediments to information sharing exist. Okay, so it sounds to me like they freely share. Wait, I explicitly asked if there are any impediments with the ability of the government to share classified information. So with the industry. Wait, are you serious? That's kind of like this Twitter executive is saying, hey, like I asked the FBI if they're okay giving me classified info to help us in the purpose of moderating the public discourse and election information. And basically they're saying here, the FBI is like, yeah, no, we'll give you whatever you need. That's kind of what it sounds like. That's interesting. I asked if the U.S. government was tracking foreign threats related to non-presidential races. Long silence. The government is not tracking foreign interference or threats related to down ballot races. Okay, so in other words, yes, they're tracking the presidential ones, but maybe not necessarily like the House races or potentially smaller races. Interesting. Long silence. Kind of. Could you imagine that call? Like, hey, are you guys tracking, the other elections too? And then just quiet. Weird. DHS has created a chart of key dates in the election process at state level. They are confirming information with the states this week and should get us a summary chart of key dates next week. Okay. Policy tweeted this morning about meeting without legal review as the only Twitter representative to speak. I raised my disappointment in the lack of my involvement directly to policy comms. Missed opportunity. Okay, whatever. Project Huron, whatever. Some kind of intervention under consideration regarding labeling election results. I raised concerns about feasibility and relayed firsthand experience with news media mistakes during challenging primary seasons. Okay. Civic integrity labeling. I provide feedback on approving the language of labels. Vote by mail claims. I mean, I don't know that the labeling is necessarily terrible. Like, you see Elon's tweets get labeled with additional info all the time. I think as long as they're relatively factual, actually, I mean, they should have the utmost care for factuality since they're, probably put together by a committee of some sort. I'm not horribly opposed to labels. I'm much more opposed to just like visibility filtering and making people's posts disappear, especially, if they're jokes. Like it'd be one thing if somebody's like, hey, as a reminder, everyone vote today with the exception of the other party I don't like. And then a label comes up. Hey, just to be clear, like the election's the 8th, right? Like I'm okay with that kind of labeling personally. On September 17th, over 2,300 high-risk politician and journalist accounts will be promoted to upgrade their security settings. I reviewed and approved. Okay, well, what is that? Due to missing email addresses? Well, okay, whatever. Like, hey, go put your email in your Twitter account so you don't get hacked. I mean, well, that's fine. That's just like basic business. That's not a big deal. Okay. So let's keep going here. Yeah. The sharing part, that was interesting. Now I picked up on that too. Number 26. This passage underscores the unique one big happy family vibe between Twitter and the FBI, with what other firms would the FBI blithely agree to no impediments to classified info? I mean, true, like, I didn't see these tweets yet, but one of the first things I thought is like, wow, that seems pretty incredible. I mean, just rewind. You saw my reaction too. I mean, I'm just all live. At the bottom of the letter, she lists a series of escalations apparently raised at the meeting, which were handled. Okay, what is this, like an ad for domains for sale or something like that? Oh, it's a mistake. Okay, because they forgot to put a space there. It's a nice photo. 28. At about 1, she writes, flagged a specific tweet of Illinois use of modems to transmit election results in possible violation of the civic integrity policy, except they do use that tech in limited circumstances. Okay. Another internal letter from January 21 shows Twitter executives processing an FBI list of potential violative content. I just think it's interesting about like how much interaction there is between the FBI and the social media platforms. That I think is interesting. Here too, most of the tweets contained the same "get out there and vote Wednesday" trope and had low engagement. This is what the FBI spends time on. So Chris Cuomo wants to imprison suspected COVID carriers, force vaccinations without due process, things power-hungry madmen would do. And like, who cares? Let people have their opinion, right? And this is an example. This is our future, guys. If the Dems get full control, if you are in Georgia, you better vote Wednesday. Okay. Again, like, it's just sort of a misleading date, but like nobody even liked this. Like there was no engagement on this. Like who cares? Like this is a joke. Every single election, people joke like this. In March 21, an FBI liaison thanks a senior Twitter exec for the chance to speak to you and the team, then delivers a packet of products. What? An FBI liaison thanks a senior Twitter exec for the chance to speak to you and the team and delivers a package of products? What? Hey, Cecilia, it was great speaking with you and the team at Twitter last week. I wanted to flag a few products that were released today and earlier that may be of assistance to Twitter. Flag a few products. Interesting. All right. Little mysterious. All right, let's keep going here. What else we got? The executive circulates the products, which are really DHS bulletins. Okay, so like pamphlets or something, like handouts, basically. Okay, all right, got it. The executive circulates the products, which are really bulletins, stressing the need for greater collaboration between private sector partners and law enforcement. Okay. The ubiquity of the 2016 Russian interference story as stated pretext for the building of the censorship machine can't be overstated. So that's actually what I talked about earlier, which was, this. It looks like this is all about Russian interference and, the allegations in 2016, Hillary Clinton emails and stuff. All right, fine. Russian malign influence, use of social media. I mean, this is kind of boring so far. This little segment over here. The other things are kind of interesting. It's like, okay, FBI is going around censoring people's tweets. All right, what else? While the DHS in its products pans permissive social media for offering operational advantages to Russians, it also explains that domestic violent extremist threat require addressing information gaps. Okay. We judge these partnerships would improve our ability to detect changes on trends. Okay, so let us snoop some more, basically. All right, so that's number 34. Let me get 35 here. Let me find that really quick. So far, it seems to me like the FBI almost had the same kind of email contacts and ability to send tweets they didn't like to Twitter for Twitter to potentially take action on, kind of like politicians did, right? That's so far what we got out of this. Let's see if there's anything else. There were multiple points of entry into Twitter for government flagged reports. This letter from Agent Chan to Roth references Teleporter, a platform through which Twitter could receive reports from the FBI. Twitter folks, just got something hot off the press. Please be on the lookout for a Teleporter message from me with 2 documents to download. Interesting. So, Teleporter. Okay. This is like that back channel kind of communication system. Reports also came from different agencies. Here's an employee recommending bouncing content based on evidence from DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Resharing this as it doesn't look like there were actions yesterday. Given the evidence we received from DHS, etc., I'd like to lean towards batting the URL and bouncing the videos, to be honest, given the accusations, but relatively low visibility. So in other words, here's something that's not getting a lot of traction. It's maybe not the biggest deal, but why don't we just, when people click on the link, create a warning and maybe make the videos not load? All right. I mean, it does seem a little authoritarian, that's for sure. But, I mean, so far it doesn't seem so crazy, so like unbelievable, right? Let's keep going here. What else do we have? State governments also flagged content. Okay, all right. Like every politician in the government got to complain about stuff on Twitter and have Twitter do something about it. This is kind of okay. I got it. Let's see. Twitter, for instance, received reports via the Partner Support Portal, an outlet created by the Center for Internet Security. I would love if we could look up how much of my social media was censored by Gavin Newsom's requests. I just would love that. Then we could sue Gavin Newsom. It'd be so great. It'd be so great. We'd love that. Why was no action taken? Below. Twitter execs receiving an alert from California officials by way of our Partner Support Portal. Debate on whether to act on Trump tweet. Okay, so here's a Trump tweet. California hired a pure Sleepy Joe Democrat firm to count and harvest votes. No way Republicans get a fair shake. Lawyers get started. California's in big trouble. Vote Trump and watch the greatest comeback of all. Also, New York and Illinois, go for it. Okay, so that was right before the election of 2020. And what is this big message here? This looks like, why was no action taken? Why was no action taken? And here's some report. What do we got here? Hey, team, California Secretary of State. Oh, I know. These are the shysters. The Secretary of State. They're the ones that don't even follow their own laws. I don't even want to go into my lawsuit against the Secretary of State. We'll save that for a different video. I've pasted their ask below. They are requesting feedback on the tweet and why Twitter didn't take action on, here's the Trump tweet. Blah, 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 blah. Interesting. Okay. I mean, all right, let's just keep going here. So that was the Trump tweet. Here, a video was reported by the Election Integrity Project at Stanford, apparently on the strength of information from the Center of Internet Security. What do we got? This is a very long and legal-heavy video, but essentially it claims that the Pennsylvania election workers opened their inner envelopes on ballots before Election Day and called people to correct their ballots prior to Election Day. According to CIS, the video misrepresents the law, the Supreme Court decision, and affidavits. The law doesn't prohibit curing a ballot. Like, hey, we can't read your signature. Can you come by and sign it? Okay. The author misrepresents. I mean, people misrepresent stuff in videos all day, every day. Like, at what point does it rise to the level of people just, kind of have to, look at videos and contents and consider their source and consider believability? Is that Twitter's job to become the arbiter? I mean, like, it's one thing, in my opinion. Let's just go extreme here for a moment. If the Supreme Court were to look at this video and go, this video violates law, okay, then like remove it. But who gave Twitter the power to basically become an arbiter of what is true and what is not true? If somebody is alleging voter fraud, in my opinion, it should be investigated. You know, like when I said that during the 2020 recall campaign against Governor Newsom, when I said that, and I'm like, look, if there are claims, do audits, like investigate, right? Like just if there's no fraud, there's no fraud. If there's fraud, then prosecute it, right? You know, one of the complaints I got, especially in California, was people were like, well, who's going to pay for all that? And I'm like, who's going to pay for all the $500 stimmy checks Gavin Newsom just sent out? And now all of a sudden we're in a budget deficit. Like that guy spent like $70 billion on stimulus checks. Maybe it wasn't that much, but it was a lot. Anyway, point is, it's like, it's the government's job to investigate this stuff. But is it Twitter? Like, does Twitter get elevated to this? I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of that. All right. If that's confusing, it's because the CIS is a DHS contractor that describes itself as partners with the Cyber and Internet Security Agency at the DHS, reporting misinformation. The EIP is one of a series of government-affiliated think tanks that mass review content. Right. So at what point I think this is where a debate comes up. At what point can these government organizations demand that a private organization take action without a court order? Right? At what point are these cybersecurity agents now basically deputized to take somebody's free speech away? Well, that's something that society is going to have to figure out. The EIP is one of a series of government-affiliated think tanks that mass review content, a list that also includes the Atlantic Council Digital Forensics Research Laboratory and the University of Washington's Center for Informed Policy. My goodness. Okay. Let's see. Number 44, the takeaway. What most people think of as the deep state is really a tangled collaboration of state agencies, private contractors, and sometimes state-funded non-government organizations. The lines become so blurred as to be meaningless. Twitter files researchers are moving into a variety of new areas now. Watch the following accounts for more soon. All right. I mean, like, I would say this is more than nothing. You know, I think some people look at this and go, I had nothing burger. It's more than nothing because it's just a reiteration of the wake-up call that politicians and agents, rather than judges, are shaping discourse, criticism, and allegations. You know, if Trump wants to allege voter fraud, let him, and then let judges investigate that, right? Let people investigate that and get to the bottom of it. Like, I remember being on the phone call with the, I was listening to the phone call. It was a recording that was released the next day between the governor of Georgia, I believe their Secretary of State, and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's like, well, what about this? And then the Secretary of State and the governor have this detailed response. Well, we investigated that. This is what we believe. Here. This is what happened. Here's the proof. And then Donald Trump, like, as soon as he realizes, okay, that point isn't working. Well, what about this? You didn't answer this. Right? And it was just sort of like this, like, oh, come on, Trump. They're doing their best to like answer every single question with detail and facts. And they're like, hey, you can even see the facts here. That's kind of what should happen when allegations are made. So then people can listen to those phone calls or videos or look at the documentation and go, okay, here's what I believe, right? And everybody can make their own opinion. I actually thought they did a good job, and I'm not trying to get political, but on that phone call, at least, I didn't go in and fact check everything after. So let me be very clear. But I actually thought the Georgia officials did a pretty good job addressing almost every concern Donald Trump had, but Trump didn't want to hear it. In fact, that was the famous call where Donald Trump said something to the effect of, look, we only need to find 12,000 votes. We just need to find 12,000 votes. It was something like that, where it's just kind of like, dude, no, that's not how this works. Sorry, Trump. Like, you don't go find 12,000. That's not how this elections work. So, like, that's an interesting phone call. I covered it on this channel. You can probably find it, honestly. It's quite interesting. But anyway, let's do a little Q&A here. So let me look really quick. Georgia, meet Kevin, phone call, Trump. I will say Twitter. Yeah. I actually do have it here. YouTube actually censored some of my posts when I was covering this Trump debacle. But look at this. It's here it is. Trump demands Georgia find votes. Full audio call, election 2020, right here. So you could actually go through what I just described. Hey, look, it's old Kevin, young Kevin, I guess. Now I'm old Kevin. Jan 3rd, 2021. How crazy is that? That's wild. So anyway, you could go back. And here's a comment. Kevin works more than the Jamaicans from The Living Color. I don't know what that's a reference to, and I also don't know why I just read that. But okay, so just looking at some comments here. Elizabeth Warren just donated $5 to me. Thanks, Elizabeth Warren. They did. Can't believe you are supporting people shouting election fraud on Twitter, really? No, Elizabeth Warren, that's not what I said at all. Like, that's literally not what I said. I don't think investigating election fraud or suggesting that election fraud be investigated or audited is supporting election fraud. But that's okay. That's why I don't vote for you, Elizabeth Warren. She's not even in my state. I couldn't vote for her anyway. Anyway, let's see here. Quit bagging on Elon. Quit bagging on... I think this comment answers that. Kevin disagrees with Elon over one or two things. And then the world. Oh my God, Elon is crazy and ruining Tesla. Tesla's on fire. Everything's terrible. Yeah, let's see here. What else we have? Are you asking me if Tesla's a huge discount? Well, yeah, I think so. But you know, look, recessions are tough, man. Things go down. That's the direction they go. It probably wasn't YouTube censoring. It was probably the FBI and their probably. Yeah, but that's interesting. You know, I have, it was January 5th, 2021. I got an email from YouTube. YouTube, Trump video removed, election fraud. Your content has been removed. Yep, here it is. Look at this. January 19th. Okay, so this is like a spam email account that I have, but my YouTube stuff goes here. And look at this. Meet Kevin. We wanted to let you know that our team reviewed your content. We think it may violate our spam, deceptive practices, and scam policies. Okay, and then look at the title. Video. Donald Trump speaks live. Final speech before Georgia runoff. So literally the day before the election in Georgia, my video gets removed because YouTube thinks it's spam, deceptive, and scam when all I'm doing is covering a live broadcast like any other media organization was at that time of Donald Trump. What our policy says, content that advances false claims and widespread fraud, errors, or glitches, or changing the outcome of the 2020 election is not allowed on YouTube. Not allowed. It's like, dude, I'm literally just covering the event. Like, it's like, come on. Anyway. I did not get a strike. They just deleted it. Thank you for your concern. Imagine the dirt they deleted before Musk took over. Yeah, dude, it's like SpongeBob in the fire scene where they're going around and shredding everything, right? Elizabeth Warren's intern. Yeah. All right. I don't know what it is with the camera these days. It's getting censored. That's it. All right, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you in the next one, okay? Good luck. Stay strong. Recessions are tough, but they make you strong. What don't kill you, right? What don't kill you. I hope that's not a reference to Oh, crap. I think it's a Kanye reference. Oh, no. Now we have to go into political apologies, and oh, man.